The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, shout out to everybody. We're live once again. You know, the afternoon live with the untouchable, afternoon live with BT and True School. Yeah, I wanted to come here and just knock it out, knock this live out, and before I proceed with my day, you know, I figured I'd be here for like a maybe hour and a half, 2 hours. We'll see how it goes, but I'm gonna be here for a little bit of time, cause you know we got things to talk about in boxing. So, interesting things to talk about in boxing as well. You know, we got the debut of Teofimo Lopez at 140 this weekend. You know, the return, his first fight since he lost to George Kambosos just last year. So that's definitely worth talking about. And then also, you know, in the aftermath of the Vergil Ortiz Michael McKinson fight, it almost seems like people and the crazy thing was I predicted that this was gonna happen. I predicted that Michael McKinson was gonna fight Virgil. He was gonna make him look bad at times in the fight, and then people would start calling Virgil overrated. They would make it sound like, you know, he doesn't have a chance against any one of the current belt holders 147, which I think is complete bullshit. Vergil Ortiz, just because he's not flashy, just because he's not incredibly slick or nothing like that, a lot of people want to downplay and demean him. But I wanted to talk about that as well, and then we can talk about anything else in between. So if you're here, make sure you smash that like button. Definitely feel free to leave a comment, and I'll get to you guys. Let me know where you're watching from, and I'll give you a shout out. Program reminder for this weekend. All right, program reminder. I will be live for Teofimo Lopez versus Pedro Campa this week, so make sure you join me and Pops for that. And yeah, man, I'm looking very forward to seeing what Teo's gonna do against Pedro Campa. We'll get into that. Before I get into that, right? Before I get into that, it's been pissing me off. I gotta be honest. Like, I'm not a big Vergil Ortiz fan. Like he's not my favorite welterweight, truth be told. Anybody who knows me knows who my favorite welterweight is. My favorite welterweight is really Terence Crawford. But I'm not like so in love with any fighter that I can't see when a fighter can be competitive with top guys in the division. And I feel like Vergil Ortiz, at the age of 24, 19 fights into his pro career, you know, he's fought awkward fighters like Maurice Hooker, Michael McKinson. He's fought big punchers like Kavaluskas, the same Kavaluskas that fought Crawford. He's fought all types of different styles, and the outcome has been the same every single time. And in this last fight, my opinion of Virgil actually wound up being enhanced, not because he got a knockout, but it was the process in which he got there. You know, yeah, he started off early, not looking so good, but then he made the adjustments, settled down, and picked his shots very nicely. And you saw him even when he would throw a single shot or two, pivot around Michael McKinson and actually show a little bit of footwork. So he has skills. He's just not as flashy as other guys. And people, I noticed that in boxing, like when a guy isn't as flashy, they think that means he's not as good, which is not the case. Vergil Ortiz has one of the best power jabs in all of boxing. He has one of the best jabs for any fighter in any weight class in all of boxing. He's flawed. He can get hit. He does need to tighten up on his defense. I acknowledge his flaws. But for people to sit here and say and act like Terence Crawford, Errol, Spence, and Jaron, Ennis are the second coming of Jesus themselves and they can't get touched to beat is fucking ridiculous. It is the most ridiculous thing ever. I made a video about this, and I talked about how I thought Virgil would translate, his style right now would translate to fights with all three of those guys. I told you guys I think he has the style and the skills to outwork Spence to a decision. I told y'all I think that Crawford would probably still beat Virgil, but it's a much closer fight now than it was a year ago. And I also said that if Virgil fought Jaron Ennis, I think Jaron Ennis, due to the versatile offensive attack he has, would probably beat Virgil the most convincingly out of those guys. But people aren't even saying that Virgil would have a snowball's chance of hell of competing. I'm not even saying he's going to beat these guys. I'm saying he can compete with these guys at this age, which is not a crazy statement. You know, like Errol Spence, right? Let's talk about Errol Spence. He fought Sean Porter, who I like. He's a friend of mine. But let's be real. Sean Porter is a very limited fighter. He was physically strong. He matured later on in his career and became a better boxer. Errol Spence was losing round after round against Sean Porter. So you mean to tell me Vergil Ortiz, a younger guy, bigger guy, better jab, stronger, can't give Errol, couldn't win some rounds and possibly make it a competitive fight and maybe even beat Errol Spence. That's foolishness, especially when you factor in his finishing ability. That makes him even more dangerous, you know? So there's that. Crawford, bit of a different fight because Crawford likes to, you know, he's a sharpshooter, can punch on the move, these kind of things. But we've seen Terence Crawford fight Kambosos and Gamboa and fighters who I don't believe are as good as Vergil Ortiz get hurt, look vulnerable, get clipped. If you guys remember the first 2 rounds of the Kell Brook fight, he was getting out jabbed by Kell Brook until he made the adjustment and then he stopped him. But, you know, Virgil's fresher than Kell Brook. His jab is better than Kell Brook because it's more fundamentally sound than Kell Brook's. And I'm saying this as Kell Brook being my favorite welterweight of this whole era, honestly. But it is he has a better jab than Kell Brook. So even Crawford wouldn't be safe. And then as for Ennis, I like Ennis, right? I love Ennis. I had a chance to watch him spar, so I know what he can do. I've seen it up close in person. I know what he can do. But if you look at his career, Jaron Ennis hasn't even seen the 7th round yet, which is a credit to him because he's been knocking these guys out. But we don't even know what Jaron Ennis would look like in the back half of a fight. Plus, as skilled as he is, sometimes he has defensive lapses and sometimes he gets hit. So I don't understand like the logic. I can understand you having your favorites. I can understand like you think that Crawford and Spence and Ennis are just all better than Virgil, and you're gonna pick them all to beat Virgil. I got no problem with that. But where I do have a problem is, where I have a huge problem is when they start talking about Vergil Ortiz like he's some bum, like he's some C-class fighter, like he wouldn't have a chance against these guys. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Honestly, I'll be honest with you, it's almost kind of making me want Virgil to fight one of these dudes and knock him the fuck out. Honestly, I don't care which one it is, to be honest with you. Except Ennis. I like Ennis. I can't really say anything bad about Ennis. I like Ennis. So if they fight, I'll just be unbiased. But so far as Spence and Crawford, oh my God, bro. I don't understand how anybody who claims to know anything about the sport of boxing can sit here and act like he wouldn't at least be competitive with those guys if they ever fought. Now, mind you, I'm talking about hypotheticals because the reality is he's not going to fight these guys because these guys are trying to figure out if they want to fight or not. The two divas haven't signed the contract yet, and that's still holding up the division. But I'm just saying, that's been the talk. How does since the McKinson fight, the talk has been, how does Virgil stack up to the elite to the division? And for me, I thought a year ago, if you go back on the channel and watch some old videos, I thought a year ago Virgil Ortiz was ready for a world title shot. A year ago. Maybe not against Crawford, but against the other guys, I thought. Now I think he's ready for everybody, including Crawford. You know, and listen, he's only 24 years old, so he's only gonna get better with time. But let's get some comments. Shout out to my main man out there in the UK, Shakur. He says, "What's up, my blood brother? Hope you're all good." Teofimo has finally come back. Yeah, it's good to hear from you, Shakur. Shout out to you across the pond. Yeah, it's gonna be really intriguing to see how Teofimo looks. You know, a lot of people have kind of forgotten about just how good Teofimo is, because that's how boxing is. That's how boxing is. When you lose a fight, people forget. They throw salt on your name. They think you're trash, and that's just the era we live in the post Floyd Mayweather era, where you know the O is everything, and if you don't got an O, then you ain't shit and you're a bum. So it is what it is. But we gotta appreciate Teofimo Lopez because he was the guy that really lit this division on fire to begin with. You know. And he's worth watching. He's worth our attention. He's worth us talking about. That's why I'm doing this live about him. He's taking on Pedro Campa, you know, a guy that I don't really know a whole lot about, but I do know that Pedro Campa was scheduled to fight Adrian Broner 2 years ago. The fight got scrapped because Campa, one of Campa's team members, got COVID. You know, it's mostly the same fanboys who hate on Canelo, the ones that only hate because of skin color and nothing else. I'm not gonna get into that, but yeah, I've just seen a lot. I just seen a lot of disrespect towards Vergil Ortiz, and I don't get it. Like I'm not saying you gotta think he'll beat those guys. I'm just saying to write him off as if like he's just some nobody fighter, like he's just, like he doesn't have a chance. It's foolishness to me. He's a really good fighter. He's just not as flashy as the other guys, so you know people aren't gonna be oohed and awed as much by him. But fundamentals are there. The balance is there. The finishing is there. I think he's got to tighten up on his defense just a little bit before he goes into a fight to give himself the best chance to win. But he's a fantastic fighter. Like, what do you want from the guy? 19-0 with 19 knockouts. How can you criticize 19-0 with 19 knockouts? Against the fighters he's fought. Good veteran fighters. Like, the reality is this. Here's the truth that you guys don't want to live with. And I see your super chat, William. Here's the truth that you guys don't want to live with. Vergil Ortiz, and it's crazy because I sound like a Vergil Ortiz fanboy, but I'm not. Terence Crawford is my favorite welterweight out of this bunch. But Vergil Ortiz is fighting better competition at 19 fights than Spence did when he was at 19 fights, than Crawford did when he was at 19 fights, and Ennis did when he was at 19 fights. But yet, he's the one who gets shitted on the most. It's hilarious. And this is why fighters don't want to fight anybody. Because when you actually fight decent opponents, live bodies, you get criticized. You get people say you ain't shit and you got exposed. It's ridiculous. Shout out to my man, Ordinary Pete. Yes, sir. Let's get to the super chat from William Boxing. You guys know the drill. When the super chats come out, Don King comes out, and sometimes the big bad booty daddy, Scott Steiner, sound it out, BT. Scott Steiner comes out, so Scott Steiner put these holes in the Steiner recliner.
Grind. And it's only a matter of time because they call me the big bad booty daddy.
That's right. Shout out to Scott Steiner, the big bad booty daddy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Salute. Isn't Virgil the mandatory for the WBA? He's not the mandatory yet, because or maybe he is. I don't know. Cause I think Styles has one of the secondary trinkets or whatever it is. But let me check because I want to be sure. I don't want to talk out of my ass. So if we go to 147, yeah, Styles has the secondary belt. So yes, that would make Vergil Ortiz the mandatory to that belt, and he would have to fight Styles. That would, I guess, be a final eliminator if they fought. Because then the winner of that fight would be in line to fight whoever has the WBA belt, whether it's Spence or Crawford. So that'd be a good fight. I like that fight. Styles has solid, underrated boxing ability. He's very strong. He's coming off of a very good win against Butiev. And with that being said, I think that fight right there would tell us a lot more. I think that fight would tell us even more about Virgil. Seeing Styles, a big, strong guy who can box a bit, who's youthful like Virgil. It's crazy because Styles isn't really getting a lot of hype. I know he's from Lithuania. He don't really speak. I don't know if he speaks English or not, but he's not doing a million interviews. So it's I understand why he's not getting the hype. But man, that guy can fight. He can fight his ass off, and he's definitely someone to look out for in the welterweight division. William Ritter, what's good, champ? Yo, what's good there, True School? Where do you rank Styles and Butiev in the welterweight division? Well, Styles is definitely a top 10, a full-fledged top 10 welterweight. I don't think he's top 5. I mean, let me see. You got Spence, Crawford, Ennis, Virgil, and then you got Styles. You got so yeah, he might be 5. Styles might be 5, or Thurman or Styles could be 5. Butiev probably be lower top 10, something like that. Yeah, I think that's fair. Butiev's lower top 10, maybe just outside of top 10, as to where Styles is maybe 5 or 6. Both very, very highly ranked. That was a good fight that flew under the radar. I'm not gonna lie, I was expecting Butiev to. I actually had Butiev winning the fight. I underestimated Styles' boxing ability. I was kind of gassed on Butiev because I saw him when he fought Jamal James and beat the piss out of him in Vegas. So I was thinking he was gonna build off that performance and really come out again. But yeah, man, very good fighters though. Yeah, he's gone. I didn't. If you notice, Shakur, see when people come in here and they talk foolishness and they want to try to micromanage how I talk about boxing, and they want to sit here and say things to my face in the chat that they would never say in real life. I don't acknowledge them. I just block them. There's no need, Shakur. There's no need to even give bums like that any of my energy. So I didn't even highlight his comment. I just calmly blocked his ass and sent him packing. Shout out to him. Brandon D. Hook, what's good, my friend? He says, another one. I always look forward to your lives, bro. Quick thoughts on Teo versus Regis at 140. If he gets that fight and wins over Zepeda, I see that as a fight of the year candidate. That'd be a great fight. One thing about Regis is that Regis is slick and he's heavy-handed. and he's got a mean streak to him, and he fights with a mean streak. Teofimo Lopez, he fought like he has a mean streak too, but I'm not sure where he's gonna be at. I think this week's gonna tell us a lot about like where he's at psychologically, where he's at mentally, and we're gonna get some answers. But I love that fight. Those are two of my favorite fighters around those weights, and they're really good. You know, Teo's very explosive. Teofimo Lopez rehired Jorge Rubio as a defensive coach for this camp, so I'm expecting to see a Teofimo Lopez that's moving a bit more, that's trying to be more of a thinker, and then kind of combine that with what already makes him really dangerous, the athleticism, the punching power, all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Ill Will 85, what's good, champ? He says, Boots is hoping to lock it in with Sionis for this upcoming fight. I like that fight a lot. I don't care. Listen, personally, when it comes to Sionis, I don't care if it's Virgil or Boots, but I would like to see one of those two get a shot at Sionis because I think that would be the fight, not just for them, but just also for Sionis, if he can win, that's going to give us an idea of who's who in the welterweight division. I don't think it would be fair, to be honest, for Virgil to get a title shot or Ennis. And by the way, they're not going to because Spence and Crawford have all the belts, and they're gonna try to make that fight happen and sort it out. But yeah, I think we need to see Styles versus one of those two. You're absolutely right. And if it's Boots, that's really good because Styles is youthful, he's strong, he can box a little bit. He's the kind of guy that I truly believe could take Ennis to the later rounds. But you know, we keep saying this about all of his opponents. We said this about Custio Clayton. We said this about Lipinets, and then the fight happens, and like Jaron Ennis says, he's in and out of there like a bank robbery. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4 rounds max, and he's knocking these guys out. So I'm not even gonna say that no more. I'm just gonna say it would be a fun fight, and hopefully Styles can take him to the back half of the fight because he needs rounds. Like it's great knocking everybody out, but he's gonna need rounds because the day's gonna come when Jaron Ennis has to go rounds, and I would hate for it to be when he's fighting for a world title. I would like it to be before he fights for a world title for him to get like 8 to 10 rounds, solid competitive rounds. Hopefully for his sake he can get a victory, and then that would be a big confidence builder going into a championship fight. That's what I think. And yeah, William, Butiev and Styles were both landing bombs. Absolutely. Jesus, I'm going to get to Jesus M's comment, and then I want to highlight something. Saludos BT, Virgil needs defense, jab, and more change of speed in his punches. I agree with that. I think Virgil has a bad habit sometimes early in the rounds of loading up and putting all the torque of his body into all of his punches. But you saw as the McKinson fight wore on, he started to pick his punches a lot better and change his speeds a little bit. So he made the adjustment. He showed that he can think that he's not just some dumb power punching fighter. There's more to him. But yeah, I'm not saying Virgil's a finished article. I'm just saying I think he's good enough. He belongs in the ring. I'm not saying he's a finished article or that he beats everybody at welterweight. I'm just saying that I think with the McKinson fight, especially now, with the way a lot of people are talking about Virgil, in my opinion, he's actually becoming kind of underrated, which is kind of crazy because he's a big name in the division. He's someone that everybody talks about, but it is what it is. Anyway, look, I wanted to highlight this because it's pissing me off. I'm going everywhere on Twitter and Facebook, and everyone just keeps talking about how Vergil Ortiz is not that good, and Spence, Crawford, and Ennis would just do all these bad things to Vergil Ortiz, which I don't agree with. I do think 2 of those 3 guys would beat him, but I do think Virgil is good enough to where he can be competitive and he belongs in the ring with those guys. And listen, if they ever fought and I was wrong, then I would have to say I was wrong and put some just due respect on those guys' name. But his 19th fight this past weekend was against Michael McKinson. Now, you can say what you want about Michael McKinson, but Michael McKinson is a guy that has conquered the domestic and European levels of boxing. He is a guy that was 22-0. Not a big puncher at all, but 22-0, awkward style, southpaw. Very difficult guy to be fighting at this stage of your career, as he showed in the early rounds and in some of the middle rounds as well. But Virgil showed that he has the poise, the maturity to deal with that style and deal with it in a very swift, calm, and devastating manner. So this guy he fought, McKinson, was a world rank contender who had 1 or 2 decent wins on his resume. And Virgil beat him. That's who Virgil beat in his 19th fight. Now, I understand in boxing that every fighter has their own path to the world title. Every fighter has their route to greatness. So I get it. But y'all are quick to forget that Virgil's only 24 years old, and that this is only his 19th pro fight. And y'all forget just who the hell Crawford and Spence and Ennis were fighting in the 19th fight. And if you don't know who they were fighting in the 19th fight, then let me refresh memory, since some of y'all don't know. Now, I love Terence Crawford. Like I said, this is my favorite fighter out of this bunch. Apart from like Chocolatito, Tyson Fury, Sinisa Estrada, this is probably my favorite fighter in boxing. And some people even think I like him as much as Chocolatito. But look, in this 19th fight, you here?
Yeah. Oh,
hold on. Before I put you on camera, sit down.
Okay.
Before I put you, I have to give them a warning about what they're gonna see if I put you on camera. Hold on. so before I get Pops on camera, in Crawford's 19th fight, he fought a fighter named Sidney Sequeira. What the hell this guy is? Okay, 19-6-1. He's not better than Michael McKinson. That's a fact, because he's not a world ranked contender. All right. You go to Errol Spence. All right. Errol Spence, and I watched this fight. This is on PBC. This is one of the first PBC fights. Errol Spence fought Alejandro Barrera, a tall, awkward, lanky Mexican fighter. Errol Spence won all the rounds, but there were a couple moments in the fights where Errol Spence got countered with uppercuts, big-ass uppercuts from way out. But other than that, pretty much a flawless performance. But another one, he's not as good as Michael McKinson either, because he's not no world-ranked contender. He was a Mexican gatekeeper. All right, so then there's him. Then you go to Jaron Ennis, who I also like. I'm not trying to talk bad about the young man from Philadelphia, because I really do think the world of him. But he fought this guy that I don't even know who the fuck this is. I might have to go to his BoxRec page. Samuel Amakuo. He fought him at the Masonic Temple in Norfolk, Virginia. Now, I don't know who this guy is, but he's been knocked out 3 times. He's journeyman from Ghana. So yeah, I'm not trying to like pull out the resumes, but I'm pulling out the resumes only to let you guys, remind you guys that Vergil Ortiz, at a younger stage of his career, he's fighting better competition than these guys that you glorify so much. All right, and mind you, I'm a huge Ennis fan. I'm a huge Crawford fan. I used to be a big Spence fan, but he's cool. He's a fantastic fighter. I recognize that. He's doing more at a younger age than those guys, and he's already a number 1 ranked contender at the age of 24. Already in the mix at age 24. Already 19 knockouts and 19 fights at age 24. Stop talking about Vergil Ortiz like he's Pedro Campa. Y'all talking about Vergil Ortiz. When it comes to Crawford, Spence, Ennis, and him fighting those guys, y'all talking about Vergil Ortiz like he's the guy that Teofimo Lopez is fighting this week, and he's just not. All right, so I wanted to just get that out the way. Now, let me see. Let me go back to the full screen. So let me see something. So yeah, I got my dad here now. Before I put my dad on the screen. All right.
This is not an accident. That's a minor accident.
I'm just gonna say this. He had an accident today.
Don't say too much, because I don't want Social Security.
I got you. Okay. He had an accident today. So, do you want to be on camera?
Yeah.
Okay.
Look.
Look.
We'll talk about.
All right. Here's Pop. Scoot in the shot.
It's all right.
Pop's a little banged up, but you know.
Yeah, right here. Okay.
There you go. What's good, Pops?
Oh, everything is good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything is good. Talking about, I had a minor accident. I had a minor accident with the road, and the road won. I'll leave it like that. Obviously, you learn your lessons. But getting back to boxing, shout out to McKinson's the only fighter that took Vergil Ortiz to more than 9 rounds, and shout out to him. But I'm happy to see what he did with Vergil Ortiz. Vergil Ortiz, I thought was going to come in there with a lot of ring rust. Obviously, he didn't after that 1 year. That year out, he actually became cream of the crop. He got his rhythm back, and he really looked good. A lot of things are going to be good for Ortiz, but also I like to see McKinson come back to the U.S. and fight some top caliber 147 fighters, because I think he's at least deserved it, and he was willing to continue to push this fight just like you were, BT, to get the fight that nobody else wanted to see, and he actually pushed. In my opinion, he pushed Vergil Ortiz to that 9th round, which any other fighter didn't do. But Virgil looked sharp and crisp. He's going to be cream of the crop. I don't think Virgil will be able to beat
Ennis.
He will not beat Ennis. That I'll tell you, because I've seen it with my own eyes.
How about Crawford?
Ennis will beat Crawford.
No, I'm talking about Virgil versus Crawford.
No, he will not beat Crawford.
How about Spence?
He will not beat Spence.
What? Oh, I asked that.
He will not beat Spence, Crawford, or Because I mean, but I will say to the Spence thing is they're both pressure fighters, so that will make it for an exciting fight. But I don't think he will beat Spence. I think Spence will cut that ring more, come forward more, and will not give enough time for Virgil to get his shots off, as people think. So he will not beat Crawford. He definitely won't beat Ennis. Ennis will beat. I mark my word. In the next few years, the real king 147 division is going to be. I'm gonna tell you, and I was a big dick rider for Vergil Ortiz. I'll tell you just like that.
How you say?
And I'm talking real. I was the biggest dick rider for Vergil Ortiz, and I'm still a big fan of his. But what I seen from Boots Ennis in that ring, it showed me a lot, and it showed me that I don't care what anybody says. He's gone 4 rounds, past 5 rounds, whatever. All these questions about Ennis. Ennis is a talented fighter. That these two motherfuckers, the two 80-year-olds, when we go wait for their retirement fight to get the Social Security checks, he's gonna beat all of them. Mark my word, I tell you that.
Okay, Pops, have you ever seen Styonus fight? Have you seen Styonus?
I haven't seen Styonus fight, but I've heard a lot about him. But I don't understand.
That's probably who Virgil or Boots probably fight next.
Yeah, and I'll tell you like this: Styonus is one I think about Styonus is very talented, but I think you came out and said that he turned down a fight or something.
Who?
Recently, while Styonus turned down a big one of the top collar.
Styonus didn't turn any fight.
Styonus
can't get any fights. They're talking about Avanesian.
Okay, Avanesian, yeah.
Avanesian was supposed to fight. So Avanesian was supposed to fight Virgil before McKinson got the fight. Well, yeah, they try to make the Avanesian fight because he has a more fan-friendly style. I think Virgil would have iced him in like 7 rounds or less. But yeah, he didn't sign the contract. That's how McKinson got the fight.
Right.
So no, not confused. You're getting confused.
But I would love to see Styonus in the mix. I've heard he's a top fighter.
European champion, knocked out Josh
so
Kelly,
I like to see that. It's the same when we talk about the European fighter that we want to see fight Shakur Stevenson, that we don't even know if that fight's going to happen. He's a very talented fighter, and we can see what's going to happen. But it's like going back to the 147. I'm telling you right now, ain't nobody beating Boots.
You don't think so?
I'm gonna put whatever money I got on Boots fight on Boots.
Hold on.
And I was a big, like I said, I was a big dick rider of Vergil Ortiz, and my son would tell we have arguments for hours. Not until I went to that Philly gym.
All right, so hold on. We got a $20 super chat. Shout out to my man again, Philippians 413.
God bless you, Philippians.
Let's give him. You know what? I haven't used this one in a while. Play some guitar. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Show them how to play the guitar. Where is it at? I lost the damn clip. Where is it at? It should be right over. Where'd it go? Where's it? Oh, there it is. All right. Yeah. Play the guitar, Stone Cold.
That's how a white man plays guitar.
There you go.
Yeah.
So shout out to Philippians 413. He says, "Yo, big time. You get the real super chat video and popping for me at Muhammad Ali." He wants me to make Muhammad.
You gotta do one, bro.
I just made a note of it because you mentioned it
twice already.
I got it right here.
We gotta give it to you when you.
And I'm in my notes. So look,
when the super checks are coming, and thank you so much. We gotta do Muhammad Ali.
I'll do something on Muhammad
Definitely.
Ali. There's a couple. If you go on the archive, there's an interview that I did with Dino Spencer, who currently runs Fifth Street Gym. He's one of the trainers down at Fifth Street Gym here in Miami, and I kind of talked to him about Muhammad Ali. There should be a couple other Muhammad Ali videos, but I haven't made one in a while. So
he's requesting one, brother.
You've been requesting it because he's not just no regular Muhammad Ali fan. He's actually from like Louisville. He's from Kentucky.
So he wants to hear from you.
He wants me to talk about Muhammad Ali. And I haven't done a boxing like history like video, like a long one in a while.
Do it for him, just for him.
I'll do it for him.
Money talks, brother. God bless you.
Shout out to you,
yeah. And I want to say just one more thing about Teofimo. I'm glad he's coming back. It's going to be a good fight for him to come back. I think right now, I'm telling you right now, 140 is going to be a good division coming up. Everybody moving up from 135 to 140 to get this competition. So having Teofimo, I think he's in the right mindset. He's a free agent again. God bless him. So I think that helps a lot. I'm a free agent. You know what I'm talking about. So having him have a set mind back and having everything right, who knows, the sky's the limit with him. I was disappointed what happened, how he called out this and that. But every fighter gets upset when they don't get. They're very got big ego and they hate to lose to anybody. At that moment, your emotions get up. But shout out to Teofimo. He's coming back, and I think he's going to do good.
A lot of people are very concerned for you in the comments.
Listen, man, the problem with me, the military has fucked me up all the way around, and I'm being honest when I say that, and my mind's always running. My son tells me this all the time, you got to focus on one thing when you do it, and sometimes you don't do it. You can't be worrying about every constant thing. That's what happens with me, the PTSD. No excuse. Bottom line is, I became best friends with the
the side of the road.
The side of the road, and I'm learning from it. Yeah.
Anyway,
God bless you guys for being concerned.
Speedy Ellis versus Vergil Ortiz. Speedy Ellis stops this guy. I love that fight. I think Rashidi Ellis is capable of giving any top welterweight a good fight. Fast, strong, very confident fighter. That's a fight that I wanted to see from Golden Boy, but Golden Boy didn't want to give Rashidi Ellis any fights.
What's his initial weight? Because he came in at 154 the last weight. Speedy Ellis came in at 154, didn't he?
He's a 47 pounder. He just came in at 54 because it's a non-title fight.
Okay.
If it's a non-title fight,
Right.
you can come in at different weights.
Yeah.
Go says Speedy Ellis versus Boots a 50-50 fight. Make that fight. I promise you he won't look how he's been looking against these guys against Ellis. Shit, I'll tell you this: if they do fight, and Rashidi, when I had him on here, he called out Ennis. A lot of these guys don't want to fight Jaron Ennis, but here we have a guy calling him out.
Yeah, and the thing about what I like about Rashidi Ellis is he's got experience. He's in the Canelo, but in the gym with
he beat
Andre.
He took Alexis Rocha's before Alexis Rocha beat Blair Cobbs.
Yeah, so the sad part about the great part about it is he had a dark side to him when he was in the Golden Boy promotion, and that was because they didn't treat him right. The bright side about it, he's back in boxing. We know how talented he is, and we want to see what he can do.
Whatchamacallit? We got H Money's in the building. He says BT and Pop salute Teofimo Lopez. He's going to keep ducking Devin Haney.
Woo! Say it again, H Money. Woo! Shout out to H Money. I love H Money.
BT and Pop salute. It's the return of the biggest capper in boxing, Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah.
BT and Pop, Teofimo Lopez got exposed.
Woo!
By George Kambosos.
Tell him, H Money. Tell him.
BT and Pops, George Kambosos owns Teofimo Lopez.
Woo!
Teofimo Lopez is cherry picking again.
Sing it, H Money. Sing it, H Money. Y'all need to go follow that channel. H Money know what's up.
H Money, I thought you liked Teofimo Lopez, man. You was on his side before he lost to George. Now he's saying.
No, he's just calling it for what he sees. He wants him to fight David Haney.
All jokes aside, I think if Teofimo can actually look good in this fight against Pedro Campa, I think a fight with him and Devin is extremely makeable now. Because they're both top ranked guys.
What do you classify from 1 through 10 as far as skills wise? How good is David Campa skill wise?
Pedro Campa?
Has he fought any legitimate fighters that will let you show how good he really is?
The only thing I really know about him is that he was gonna fight Adrian Broner 2 years ago, and the fight didn't happen because one of his team members got COVID, and then that's how Broner wanted to fight the Puerto Rican Giovanni Santiago. I think Pedro Campa, look, from what I've seen, a little bit I've seen, he's very limited Mexican style, likes to come forward. He's the kind of style that you put Teofimo Lopez in the ring to try to get him a knockout so he can build some hype.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. But I would like to see Devin versus H. I'm not against that. Hopefully.
Well, no, Devin holds the belts, right?
Teo gets this win. Yeah. Teo gets this win, and then Devin Haney. I'm waiting for Devin Haney to move to 140. I think some of the best fights he's gonna have in his career, performance-wise, is gonna be at 40 because he won't be drained. He's gonna be growing into his man strength, more weight on that frame of his.
Yeah. And I think I'll be honest with you because a lot, like you say, the 135 is the Diva division. Well, what are you gonna say now when we all move to 140 and then some? But there's other 145s that are quality besides.
I mean, look, Teo could beat Campa and fight the winner of Prograis versus Cepeda next.
Oh my god!
For the WBC title.
That'd be a great fight. I don't even know who I want for that fight. That fight got me going.
Yeah.
I have to ride with Prograis though.
Think so?
Yeah. And is Josh Taylor coming up or he's staying?
And Josh Taylor's probably gonna fight whatchamacallit? He's gonna fight
Catterall's moving up too.
He's gonna fight Catterall.
But then
that's why Taylor dropped the belts, because if he kept the belts, he'd have to honor the mandatory. So he dropped the belts to avoid mandatory so he could fight Catterall.
But Catterall's what you're gonna move up to 142, right?
Catterall is at 140.
Oh, okay.
You're saying Taylor?
Yeah, Taylor.
47.
Yeah.
Gary Anton Russell will retire Teofimo Lopez, and he will destroy Devin Haney the weight bully too. Absolutely not.
Nah.
No way. No. He had a hard enough time destroying the 38-year-old Rance Bartholomew. But I like Gary Anton Russell. He's a very good fighter, but he needs some work. Tyco TV, what's good, champ? Yes, sir. What's up? Good to see you. To me, 140 is like the cruiserweight to me. Reason why Aaron Pryor was never the fifth king, and that's definitely Hyro. Okay, that's Hyro. Because that's something that Hyro would say. Because Hyro always says that nobody gives a fuck about 140. It's all about 140.
But Hyro, everybody's moving up now, and there's a lot besides just the regular four kings on 135 or whatever you want to call it. They're all moving up to 140. Plus, it's either 144 pounds going to make it more interesting. You're going to have Taylor, Prograis, Cepeda. You're going to have so forth and so forth. So it's not just them.
We have a question for you, Pops. He says, what happened? This is from Charlie.
Okay.
What happened? Did Pops get on the scooter?
I plead the fifth because my Hooker gets me. Yes, yeah.
We'll text you.
Yeah,
we'll text you.
I can't really talk about that because I don't know. I'll tell you why later. But yeah, you got it 100% right. I'll leave it like that.
BT and Pops, Teofimo Lopez went into hiding after George Kambosos exposed him. Yeah, we haven't seen her much from him, so hopefully for his sake. I
think Teofimo still had a lot of things going on. I think now he's a single man, he's a free agent. I think once you get all that drama and all that behind you, and you get settled down, the only drama he's gonna have left, which I really like to see, he's gonna have left is just his crazy dad. But other than that, he'll be able. He seems more to me.
Well, he did bring in Jorge Rubio to help him with his defense.
Yeah.
This camp, so hopefully that.
That's great. That's great. I think that's one of the biggest changes for him to humble down and do that. I don't know if it's dad, but him to realize that hey, I gotta have another voice on here. We definitely need that.
Jairo, John Carlos Esposito, but that's really Jairo.
Yeah.
He says 140 is just a resume for these fighters because to me, I'm still waiting for Teofimo Lopez at 147. He said, yeah, nobody cares. 140 is like the cruiserweight of like, because you know how nobody like really cares about cruiserweight.
Yeah.
They don't care about it as much as heavyweight.
Hey, Jairo, I'm just gonna put it like this. What do you know about that Detroit killer, Harrison?
Anyway, I wanted to pivot into Teofimo Lopez. Shout out to everybody here. Make sure you smash that like button. Take the time to subscribe. Super chat if you feel that too, because we're here, man.
Who talking about Teofimo Lopez?
Because I was talking about Virgil at first, because it's been kind of making me upset how people are talking about Virgil like he's a bum when he's not.
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Teofimo Lopez and all things surrounding him. So if I don't get to your comment right away, I will. I'm on screen share now.
Yeah.
So Oscar De La Hoya, the Golden Boy himself, he said he's going to the fight to scout Teofimo Lopez on behalf of Ryan Garcia because apparently that's a fight that they're looking to make. That Ryan has mentioned he wants to make.
Let me tell you something.
Go ahead.
That's bullshit by De La Hoya.
He's going. He's going to go to the fight.
I know. It's just bullshit what he's saying because the reality is he already knows what Teofimo brings to the table for the last couple of years, even though he lost to Kambosos. So that's a bullshit thing. That's just for him getting more clout on that. Fuck, screw him.
So Oscar was asked about, because the big fight is Ryan Garcia and Tank.
Yeah.
He was asked about if there's been any progress in negotiating that fight happening. Mm-hmm. And he said the following, and I quote, "Zero whatsoever. We're trying to get a hold of Tank's side. We don't know who to talk to. Nobody picks up their phone, and nobody calls back. I feel like they're playing games, so I'm moving on, and I'm going to Teofimo's fight next week." So
Who's it, the promoters?
This is Oscar De La Hoya.
Okay, so why don't he just take...
He's going to Teofimo's fight.
Why don't he just take his ass, because he's got all accessibility just like LB, and go over there to his office and knock on his friggin' door. That's all he's got to do. Go over there like a man, grab your balls, and go ahead and knock on him the same way, and knock on motherfucker Ellis' door, boom, boom, boom,
just show up to
and I'm here. Forget about, I got to go to the fight. Forget about, this is the same narrative that my son says about how promoters put all these narratives about all these fights that can't be made. It's the same thing I will say about De La Hoya. He's a promoter, just like LB Mayweather. Go knock on his door or go face Mayweather yourself. I don't want to hear all this bullshit, all this crap that you're talking about, that you're just going to go to the fight and scout him. So,
to be honest, that fight's not getting made because...
Which one? The
Tank versus Ryan is not going to happen.
No?
No.
What do you think is possibly going to happen to Ryan?
I actually think Oscar would, if Bob is open to it, which I don't see why he wouldn't be. I think Teofimo versus Ryan is a very makeable fight. I think Bob would do it. I think, and I told you all this before, I think Tank's going to fight one of these three fighters next, or four fighters. He's going to fight either Rob Valenzuela, Frank Martin, Michelle Rivera, or do a Pitbull Cruz rematch. But he's not fighting outside of that. Don't expect anything outside of that. His next fight.
Yeah. I think the Michelle Rivera sounds really for me, but the Pitbull Cruz I would love to see too.
Yeah. So, he'll be there. That should make things interesting. Hopefully Teo can go in there and look good. And if we can't get Tank versus Ryan, then okay. I would love to see if Teo can have the performance that he needs to have against Campa. Then that would be a good fight. Because the way I would view that fight is. Teofimo Lopez was the first guy to really do anything big in this weight class. Mm-hmm. And then Ryan, although he's the more famous guy, he really is viewed to be like the least of everybody. Like everyone views Ryan under Devin. Yeah, but the Tank,
thing is,
Teo.
He's because of his popular. Let's get it right. Because Ryan Garcia's popularity is with the subscribers, whatever the thing is. Instagram. He's big at that. But the reality is, what has Ryan won any belts? Any belts? has Brian ever been champion?
Oscar said he's bigger than the belts.
Okay, forget what Oscar's saying. We gotta go with the facts.
I know.
So
no, he hasn't. No.
The reality is, you gotta call what you call it. It's just like what Mayweather said. Ryan can talk his talk about Canelo, talk about anything, but look what Canelo has accomplished as far as with belts. You gotta have something to support. To have a fact, you gotta have something to support your facts. That's true. The fact of the matter is, Ryan Garcia has done nothing to boxing. He's an exciting fighter. He brings the media, but has he fought the top of the creme? No. So what they're saying about him, what the social media is saying about him, I totally agree with them that he's not accomplished it. He hasn't. He is going to sell seats because of the popularity. He's just like I'm not going to say the same thing. No, I'm not going to bring that up. That's going to be something different. I'm not going to bring that up. That's totally going to be something else.
Okay.
But I will say that he has not. Until he wins the belt, people can always going to say that about him.
So let's just say, like, let's play a hypothetical game. Mm-hmm. If Oscar De La Hoya, if you could talk to him about this whole situation, what would you tell him?
About
about the whole going to scout Teofimo.
I told you what I tell him. I will tell him, first of all, Ryan right now has got to prove himself to the other champions that are on the weight class right now. The king right now in the 140 right now, right? 135 is
Devin
Haney. Ryan is going to bring he's going to bring the social media, his subscribers. He's popular. He does this, he has that, but he's got to win some championship pedigree behind him before you can even say he's better than those belts. Because the reality is, if you don't have no belts, nobody's just going to fight you just because you're Ryan Garcia, unless you not a legitimate lower the current fighters, but not the top fighters. So Ryan Garcia's got to go in there, step up his fight like he said he's going to do. And even I would like that fight with him and Teofimo. I would love to see that fight, to be honest, but he's got to do something to put an asterisk on his name and say, okay, this is what's going to catch the top dogs to fight me. I have a belt that they want. I have something that they want to get from me. Not just his popularity, because anybody can be popular. When Oscar De La Hoya was actually champion, he won belts in Golden Boy era. He was a name.
6-division champion.
But he won something. He had something behind him. So I'm going to go back to what the real Floyd said. And I love what Floyd said, Mayweather said. Until Ryan Garcia wins any belts, he can't sit there and throw any kind of fire or negativity on the fighters that already have belts, because he doesn't even have one.
Okay. Shout out to one of South Florida's very own amateur boxers down there at Flacco's Community Gym. My main man, Sebastian, the technician Santana. Make sure y'all say what's up to Sebastian. Really good young fighter. Shout out to you. I saw you won a tournament or something. I put in the comments, what tournament did you win? I saw something on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Shout out to you and congrats on your growth as a fighter. Shakur says, Gary Anton Russell will get decapitated by Teofimo Lopez. He fears, in my Southpaw voice, he fears Teofimo. 140 to me in terms of fighters is a top 5 division. It's a great division. It's a very good division. Mm-hmm. Happy birthday to your mom. Yes, my mom's birthday's tomorrow. Thank you for the reminder, Charlie. I've already had it in my mind.
I was going to remind you myself.
She's messaged me earlier in the week, so I know that's her passive-aggressive way of telling me, don't forget my birthday.
Yeah,
so,
and I do the same thing. Thank you, Charlie. We're both in the same frame of mind. God bless you.
Kanan Lawrence, what's good, Chip? I haven't heard much from you, Kanan, in a while. Shout out to you. One of my good buddies down there from the Heavyweight Factory back in the day. Mm-hmm. Hope all is well with you, and God bless you and your father, the great Chris Lawrence. The Heavyweight Factory.
Bless him.
So shout out to you. Hope you're doing well. If you're on the Instagram, if you have my number, feel free to shoot a text. Don't be a stranger. Tito Donna says, I have a feeling the Tio fight is more dangerous. Tio is much faster and more skilled than Tank. I would say from an athletic standpoint, he is more athletic than Tank. Tank might be a little bit more explosive in terms of one punch, but it could be. It could be. Tio has some of the best reflexes in the sport right now, so it could wind up being that. We got a super chat. Shout out to my main man Tito Donna for the super chat, and you guys know the drill. When the super chats come out, so does Don King. So Don King, go ahead and talk to him.
Hey everybody, let's have some fun. You don't live but once, and when you're dead, you're done. So let the good times roll. It don't matter whether you're young or old. Let the good times roll.
Let the good times roll. We will here on True School Sports. Let me before I get to the super chat, Pops is gonna go because Pops is
I gotta recuperate. But anyways, God bless you guys. Keep talking boxing. It gives us all life and energy. God bless you all. Keep supporting the channel. Super chat. Give that like button. And thank you for being here with the best boxing channel in boxing. True School Sports.
There you go. Get some rest, Pops. Yeah. So Get into the super chat. Tito says Ryan versus Tio could happen because Errol owes Tio two pay-per-view fights per his new contract. How else can Top Rank satisfy those terms if Tio fights Ryan or Haney? Absolutely, and that's a great point that maybe I've even overlooked. So thank you for that, Tito. Yeah, they own pay-per-view fights. You know, you look at the landscape. The only real fights that you would consider pay-per-view worthy would be a Ryan fight or Devin. So yeah, hopefully, look, that's why I think they made the strategic choice of opponent for Pedro Campa. It's a style that favors him, and he's going to go in there and he's going to put his best foot forward to have a sensational performance and get the people excited about him again. Because, you know, momentum is a real thing. You know, a fighter's buzz is a real thing, and right now, like, Teofimo doesn't have a lot of buzz due to the fact that he's been not really in the public eye. He lost a fight, so it's a chance for him to really get some momentum back on his side. You know, thank you for the super chat, Tito. Sebastian says, I won the Chris Young Global Boxing Tournament in Plant City. God bless you. Yes, the Chris Young. So that's my man right there, Sebastian, the winner of the Chris Young Global Tournament up there in Plant City, Florida. Good, thank you, man. Shout out to you. Freddie, what's good? Box Talk 101. The guy's going crazy. The guy, every time I see him, another 1,000 subscribers every single time. Hope all is good with you, Freddie. Congrats on all your success. Ishi Bank says, that kid is distracted. His pops and all the shit money effed up him. Haney will be the king at the end between all those guys. You know what, man? I wasn't always the highest on Devin Haney. I personally think Shakur Stevenson is the best around those weights, but he's not at 35 yet. But Devin Haney, man, I'm telling you, I think at 140 we're gonna see the best of Devin Haney. I'm looking forward to seeing what we're gonna see from Devin Haney, because like I said, he's still young. I think he's like 23, so his man strength's gonna come. He's gonna have more muscle on that frame, more strength, more weight on that frame of his. And it's gonna be something to watch, you know. So really, I'll be the sooner Devin Haney moves to 140, the quicker I'll get excited. You know what I'm saying? But going back, let me see. I know I missed a couple of interesting comments. Let me go back up. Make sure y'all smash that like button. I saw an interesting comment. Someone had asked me about David Benavidez and his resume or something like that. I think it was Ghost Life. I can't find it right now, but oh, there it is. There it is. I see. I wanted to talk about this because I missed this comment earlier. Where is it? I just saw it. Where is it? Ghost says, we need a Benavidez resume breakdown because he's called a monster, but Vergil Ortiz has fought better opponents. Yes, listen, Benavidez, really talented fighter. I personally think that his management hasn't done right by him. But yes, you're correct. Virgil's also fought better opponents than David Benavidez. That could be a video for another day, though. Not maybe the second, but like Benavidez hasn't fought the depth of opponents that Virgil's fought, in my opinion. I think Virgil got a better resume than David, even though David is more accomplished. Chance Dawson, what's good, champ? He says, how you doing, brother? Hope everything is good. Hope everything's good with you, champ. You know, shout out to you out there in Texas. I hope you enjoyed the fights because I think you told me you were there. I think you said you were there at the fight. So, you know, if you were there, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope training's going well. You know, I've been exercising a little bit myself. You know, I was actually just at the gym before this live, and then when this live is done, I'm gonna hop on the scooter and I'm gonna go drive down to Key Biscayne and I'm gonna go for a nice little run. But you know, hope all is well. BT, I understand Tio's dad got him to this point, but right now at this point, his father seems like a detriment instead of a help to further his career. Well, that's why I think it was a good move for them to bring back Jorge Rubio into the camp, because for those that know, for those that don't know, Jorge Rubio was part of the first George Kambosos, Teofimo Lopez camp, but then he wasn't part of the second because they couldn't pay him or pay anybody really. And it was I went and saw them train both times, and the atmosphere and just the whole training in general was just way different than the first fight. Shakur said, BT, if Teofimo is as good as you said in the first Kambosos camp, could anyone beat that guy? Yeah, I mean, guys, there's guys that could beat that guy, but it's going to be hard. They're going to have to really show some extra quality because, man, the guy that I saw in the first Kambosos camp, he would have knocked out most fighters in boxing within 5 rounds or less. I mean, he looked that sharp in that camp. I think if he would have fought Kambosos the first time with the way I saw him looking in that camp, I think he would have stopped Kambosos in 6 rounds or less. Because if you look at how the fight played out, he damn near stopped Kambosos with the worst performance of his life. It would have happened when it was supposed to. I think he would have had a sensational performance, but it didn't happen. He wound up slipping and not remaining as professional as he should have, and it ultimately wound up costing him, in great fashion. So you live and you learn. We all make mistakes, and hopefully Teofimo Lopez comes back better in this fight. He said the fight was good. I enjoyed the atmosphere at the Dickies Arena. Yeah, I enjoyed it too. Vergil Ortiz showed a lot of patience, a lot of poise against a very tough, courageous, awkward, physically strong southpaw Michael McKinson. And he got the stoppage. I like the way Virgil was in there thinking, and he actually showed me more of what I already thought and knew about him, which was that Virgil isn't just some dumb power punching fighter. He has a brain up there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad you enjoyed it. I like the Dickies Arena. I went to the Hooker fight last year there, and I really enjoyed my time there. It's a great venue for boxing. BT, even though Ortiz won, what do you think he needs to improve on that doesn't include his defense, and who do you think is his next opponent? I'm looking at Thurman or Ugas. So defense aside, I would like Vergil Ortiz to work on not loading up on his punches early on in the fights, because I feel like if he fights a higher level opponent and he does that, a really aggressive counterpuncher will snuff that out. They'll sniff that out, and they'll be able to capitalize on him loading up on everything and get used to the speed of his punches. Also, changing the speed of his punches earlier in the fight as well. These are things that he needs to work on. And he, I think it was in the middle rounds when he had McKinson going to the ropes. He would sometimes throw 1 or 2 punches, and then he would kind of pivot around him and then try to throw a big ass right hand. I like to see more of that. More pivoting after he punches to set up another punching angle. That's one thing that I want Virgil to do more of in his future fights. But getting back to Teo, right? Let's get back to Teo, because I do want to talk about some Teofimo Lopez. So Teofimo Lopez, one of South Florida's very own, a product of the Daily Power. We still love Teofimo Lopez. We still support him here on this channel. He's one of the best talents in the boxing. Still one of the most entertaining fighters. 16-1, 12 knockouts. His 140 debut, taking on Pedro Campa. Now, before we get into that, I have to remind you guys, because it seems like people just forgot about how good Teofimo Lopez was. All right, this guy Teofimo Lopez was nothing short of sensational. As a prospect, he knocked out William Silva, who took Felix Verdejo the full 12 rounds or 10 rounds, how many rounds it was. He took Verdejo the full distance when he was a prospect. He fought Mason Menard, who took Devin Haney the full distance and knocked him out in 1 round. He fought Diego Magdaleno in a very, very great fight on the Kovalev-Elliot Alvarez rematch on the card and stopped him in 7 rounds in one of the most exciting performances of 2019. Edis Tatley, who's supposed to be a decent contender, beat him in 5 rounds. Fought Nakatani, who was really announced himself to the world in that fight. Tall, rangy, dangerous guy, game opponent. Didn't look his best, but managed to win the fight. A lot of people didn't think that he was going to be ready for Richard Commey, and he when the pressure was on and the chips were down and people didn't give Teo, they were worried about him against Commey. He delivered 2 rounds stoppage. They said, okay, yeah, but Commey isn't that good. He's not Lomachenko, and then he beat Lomachenko with relative ease. In my opinion, he beat him pretty clearly and soundly, and then he had to let down against Kambosos. So it's been the highest of highs, the lowest of lows, but it's been an entertaining ride so far. And now he's taking on Pedro Campa. Now let's take a quick CV. Let's take a quick look at the CV of the resume of Pedro Campa. Now this is the guy, Pedro Campa. When we look at his resume, a lot of knockouts. 23 knockouts in 36 fights. Decent puncher, strong guy, limited but strong guy. Had a draw with Abner Lopez, which is not good. Had a majority decision with Carlos Cardenas, a tough journeyman, 17 losses. Got knocked out by Carlos Jimenez, who was another journeyman type of a fighter. And really just fought mostly domestic level Mexican fighters, This is only going to be his, 2nd fight in the States. So let's not make more of this more than it is. Pedro Campa, I wish him the best. He's someone that, he's a fighter, so I respect all fighters. And best luck to him. He's got a chance to change his life and his family's life and everybody around him. by beating Teofimo Lopez. But let's be real. Top Rank has the best matchmakers in boxing for a reason, and they picked him for a reason. So they picked him because they think Teofimo Lopez is gonna do a job on him. And if Pedro Campa does so much as so far as hurt Teofimo Lopez, drop him, or go the distance, then it's gonna be a win for him, and he'll get bigger opportunities in the future. And if he wins, oh man, he might experience some of what George Kambosos experienced. You know, they say that Teofimo Lopez doesn't sell tickets and he's not this big draw, right? But then George Kambosos beat Teofimo Lopez. He got one $10 million payday against Devin Haney. He's probably going to get another $10 million payday against Devin Haney. And all that is off the strength of two things. Number one, beating Teofimo Lopez. Number two, having one of the best managers in boxing behind him, Peter Khan, who was able to finesse the contract in such a way to where, you know, Devin will have to fight him twice, even if Devin won. So, you know, but I say that to say that beating Teofimo Lopez, regardless of what they say, can change a fighter's life. So make no mistakes about it. Best wishes to Pedro Campa. Now, I don't know a ton about Pedro Campa other than the fact that in 2020, Pedro Campa was supposed to fight Adrian Broner, and the fight didn't happen because one of Campa's team members tested positive for coronavirus. So he missed out on the opportunity. Broner wound up fighting Giovanni Santiago, who gave Broner a tough fight. A lot of people thought he won that fight, but that's Pedro Campa. Now let's get to some comments. Let's go back and let's get to some comments. Shout out to everybody here. It's your boy BT, the Untouchable, True School Sports Empire, the afternoon. You know, already worked out, already made 6 YouTube videos. Now I'm live. Then I'm gonna go run. I'm on it today. Lafayette asks, who is Jaron Ennis fighting next? Now, they don't have an opponent locked in yet, Lafayette. There's a lot of speculation as to what will happen. I think if Vergil Ortiz doesn't get the Styles fight, then Boots is definitely getting the Emmanuel Styles fight because Styles holds the secondary belt in the WBA, and Ennis is going to want to fight. He's going to want to get a step-up fight. And the reality is Keith Thurman don't seem too anxious about fighting him. Ugas and him talked back and forth 2 years ago about fighting, but, you know, from what I've seen interviewing both camps, I personally don't think that they want that fight, the Ugas camp. So, with that being said, I just think that, you know, Boots probably fights Styles next. Virgil more than likely fights Blair Cobbs, Alexis Rocha, someone like that. Someone in Golden Boy, you know. That's what it is. I'd probably say Alexis Rocha more than Blair Cobbs. But Blair Cobbs did win. Blair Cobbs did beat a former world champion. Blair Cobbs did do something that you guys like to say Demetrius Andrade's never done. He did beat a former world champion and Maurice Hooker. So shout out to Blair the Flair Cobbs. Woo! The most exciting man in boxing. Why do they say he's from Brooklyn then instead from Davie, Florida? Was he born and raised in New York? Is that the reason they say Lopez was from Brooklyn? He was born in New York. He was raised in Pembroke Pines, Florida. He trained in Davie, Florida his entire life. They can say he's from Brooklyn because I think that Bob Arum feels like because he's from Brooklyn, if you can market him as a Brooklyn fighter, it would sell more tickets. But as we've seen, that is not the case. So I feel like Teofimo Lopez dropped the ball. Should have from the get-go, Teofimo Lopez should have said he was from South Florida, and it would have been cool. Boots and Styles are both on PBC, yeah, and that's why I think the fight's gonna happen. I think Boots Styles fight PBC. If the Crawford Spence fight gets done for like later in the year, I think that would be an absolutely amazing co-main event. That would be the card where you'd want to have Boots Ennis on as a co-main event, so that if he looks good against Styles and he continues to show that he's the goods, a lot of eyeballs will be on him, and he'll get a lot of notoriety and clout and fanfare from that. So, yeah, you're probably right. Blair Cobbs looked okay. Yeah, no, Blair was dangerous early on. He was a bit of a front runner in the fight. He showed some aggressive counterpunching. I mean, Maurice Hooker did him all the favors in the world. His head stayed right there on the line, and Blair Cobbs was able to capitalize with aggressive counterpunching, and he hurt Maurice Hooker a number of times and dropped him 3 times. But then you saw, as the 5th, 6th, 7th round came, Blair started to kind of fade, and Hooker started to pick him off with the jab and things like that. You almost kind of believe, I believe that if Hooker would have picked up the pace a bit more and thrown more punches, he would have made things a lot tougher on Blair. But Blair fought an intelligent fight. It was the best victory of his career so far. He was able to box, move, use the ring, and he just earned himself a big fight with somebody. I don't know who it's going to be, but it's going to be a bigger name than Maurice Hooker, I'll tell you that much. So don't be surprised if Vergil Ortiz fights him next, because that's a fight that I know Golden Boy Promotions wouldn't mind making, you know. But shout out to everybody here. We're 1 hour in already. It's been an eventful day for your boy BT, from making videos to going to the gym to what happened with Pops to now being here. It's crazy day of my life. But shout out to everybody here. Make sure you smash the like button and definitely leave your comments. I love the interaction. I love the feedback we're getting. Shout out to my main man, Mo Hooker, or 704 Joe. Shout out to you, 704 Joe. He says, Maurice Hooker, keep your head up. Yes, Maurice Hooker, much respect to him. I've been a fan of Maurice Hooker for a very long time. Personally, look, it's a fighter's prerogative to choose when they will and won't retire. But for me personally, I think Maurice Hooker has went about as far as he can go in his boxing career. This was his second fight at welterweight. I truthfully believe the Vergil Ortiz fight took a lot out of him. He injured his hand and he had to get hand surgery. This fight, he came in overweight. He looked slow. He looked lethargic. And he ran out of ideas. So I question, at this point in his career, his dedication to the sport. And I feel like if you're a fighter, if there's even like an ounce of lack of dedication, then you got to get out the sport. If you don't want it anymore, you got to get out the sport, because if you stay doing it just for the money, you're going to get hurt even more. And I don't think Maurice Hooker has anything to prove it to anybody. I feel like this is a guy that was very limited in his career, and he really wasn't. He really wasn't supposed to achieve what he achieved. I mean, to me, when I think about the world champions in boxing over the last 4 to 5 years, Maurice Hooker is one of the guys I actually respect the most, because when he fought Terry Flanagan, he had to go to the UK on foreign soil to get the job done, and he found a way to do it. Then, when he got the title, he wasn't even afforded the opportunity of fighting in his hometown right away. Top Rank actually overpaid Maurice Hooker to get in the ring with Alex Saucedo, who was a young, budding, up-and-coming contender at the time, Mexican-American from Oklahoma. They overpaid Hooker to come on the road and fight Alex Saucedo in his hometown. Hooker got dropped in like the first couple of rounds. He got dropped, got up off the canvas, and then stopped this kid in his hometown. And his career was never the same after that. So like fights like that have always made me respect Maurice Hooker. He's an overachiever. I don't think he's an A-level fighter. I think he's barely teetering around being a B-level fighter, if I'm honest, if we're talking about his ability. But he had something deep inside of him, a sort of grit and determination that that allowed him to get over the hump in a lot of fights. So, if that was his last fight, it's not the best way to go out. But, much respect to Maurice Hooker. Oak Cliff, Dallas, Texas, very own. Much love to him. Cobbs was talking to Hooker in the ring, saying the winner of that fight fights Ortiz. Well, hey, then we're probably going to get Blair Cobbs versus Ortiz next. I think Virgil's power, because the thing of Blair is what makes Blair, one of Blair's strengths is like his athleticism, his ability to move and be explosive. He's got good power. I think when you get a fundamentally sound guy like a Vergil Ortiz, who has a consistent jab, good power jab, good finishing abilities, I think a guy like that in the middle rounds will really hurt a guy like Blair Cobbs. So I would say if they fight, I got Virgil stopping Blair like in 6-7 rounds, in my opinion. He says, I wonder who Alexis Rocha is going to fight. That's a good question. I mean, let's see if he's ranked. I don't think he's ranked anywhere. Alexis Rocha. Santa Ana, California's very own Alexis Rocha. Let's see. He's not ranked in the WBC. He's not ranked in the WBA. He's not ranked... Oh, no, he is ranked in the IBF. And he's ranked in the WBO. So, there's some fights out there for him. I would like Alexis Rocha to fight Cody Crowley or Florian Marcoux, or better yet, why does Alexis Rocha fight the guy that Ortiz is going to fight, David Avanesyan? They're both kind of the same fighter, two strong, sturdy, hard-punching guys, good stamina. I think that'd be a great matchup. I need everyone for the cool boy undisputed at 122. Yeah, shout out to Stephen Fulton. Great fighter. In my opinion, a lot of people like to debate about like who is Stephen Fulton a pound for pound fighter. Now, I don't like to get into the pound for pound stuff because it can be a waste of time. But if I made a pound for pound list, he would be one of the fighters that would unquestionably be on that list. I mean, he's doing a lot of great things at 122 right now. And hopefully, for his sake, we can get the Mirjan Akhmadaliev fight because I think Stephen Fulton deserves the right. He's been afforded the right to really be to try to become undisputed. You know what I'm saying? He's doing his thing. And I had a chance to meet him in Philadelphia, and it's not hard to see why they call him Cool Boy. The guy is as cool as an ice cube. The guy doesn't get down too high, up or down about anything. That fight's not gonna happen now. I think with Rashidi going to PBC, the likelihood of that fight happening is very slim. I would like it to happen. I think it should have happened already. You know, it would have been good to see Virgil in there with an athletic, speedy fight. I like Rashidi Ellis, guy who has a lot of experience sparring the likes of Demetrius Andrade, Canelo Alvarez, a guy that's beaten Alexis Rocha and knocked out some good prospects, good young contenders and prospects in his career, and he deserves a big fight like that. So, yeah, man. De La Hoya, but I don't think Golden Boy wants that fight to happen. I think Virgil will take the fight. Virgil strikes me as a guy that's down to fight anybody, but I think Golden Boy has their plans for Virgil, and they're going to stick to it come hell or high water. But yeah, so going back to Teofimo Lopez, I wanted to read you guys some quotes from an article. Shout out to all 38 of you here. Let me know what city, what state, what continent you guys are watching from, and I'll give you a shout out. But I wanted to get some quotes from Teofimo Lopez because he's letting y'all know the takeover is back. The takeover is back. So here's what he said in the Top Rank press release. He said, and I quote, "The takeover is back. I took over the lightweight division, and I plan on doing the same thing at junior welterweight. Pedro Campa is a tough opponent with an aggressive Mexican style, and I can't wait to put on a show for the fans. Every person goes through challenges, but I put them past behind me, and I'm thrilled to be back fighting on ESPN in Las Vegas. I'm calling the fight the take back because I'm going to regain what I lost. One defeat does not define a fighter, and it won't define me. I'm only 25 years old. My best years are in front of me. Pedro Campa is the start of a new chapter in my career. I will be a two-weight world champion very soon. Every contender and champion in the junior welterweight division better watch out because I'm coming to clean out the division." So there you go. Teofimo Lopez talking real, talking a good game. So hopefully he goes in there and he performs because, you know, for a long time I've been waiting for a long time for Teofimo Lopez to move to 140. I personally thought he should have vacated the belts and not have fought Kambosos just because of the fact that, you know, I knew he was weight trained. I've seen him in the gym. I knew it was hard for him to get down to the weight. But he fought him and it backfired and he lost. So now he goes to 140, a division that I have always said I think we're going to see some of the best performances of his career in this weight class. So, you know, I would expect this one to be one of them this weekend, you know. And there's expectations being placed upon him, and sometimes it's not the easiest to perform when you have the expectations. Mars Flea says, "It's official. When all you've done is good, but get disrespected by fans, that means you're officially elite. Unfortunately, the world is full of bitches." And listen, Mars, I couldn't agree with you more. You know, I wanted to see this Vergil Ortiz versus McKinson fight, and I've had criticisms of Virgil in the past, but you give credit where credit is due. He's fought all kinds of fighters. He's fought power punching fighters like Kavaluskas, the same one that fought Crawford and gave him one of his hardest fights, and he's managed to look good in that fight. He's fought awkward guys that were veterans like Mauricio Herrera. He's fought awkward guys that were young and hungry and undefeated like Michael McKinson, highly ranked. You know, he's done what he needed to do, and he's done it in sensational fashion. And all I see from the guy is that you know, he's just not anywhere in the same class as the incomparable Spence, Crawford, and Ennis. I mean, come on, man. I'm a fan of those guys, but come on, man. He deserves to be in the ring with those guys. Those Golden Ducks ain't fighting nobody. Golden Boy Promotions, they do, like, Munguia, protected. A lot of the guys do get protected, but I really don't feel like they're going to try. I don't think they're protecting Virgil. Truthfully, I don't. I think if the right fight comes available, they make the fights happen, but that's just me. Jose Faciel Rivera says, "Let's go, Rhode Island." Shout out to all the fine folks in Rhode Island, the home of the WBO middleweight champion, one of my favorite fighters, Demetrius Andrade, who still hasn't announced what the hell he's going to do. So hopefully we get some answers as to what the hell Demetrius Andrade is going to do, because with each passing day, it's looking worse and worse for Boo Boo. You know, I like him. I want the best for his career, but I've been getting very discouraged as someone who's, you know, stuck his neck out for him, and, you know, someone that really is a fan of his, you know. But shout out to what was it? Dragon Leg out to Indianapolis in the house. That's right, Indiana. Shout out to Indiana. I think Regis, Cepeda, and Ramirez would beat Tio. All tough fights. I mean, I think Regis. I would actually slightly favor Regis over Tio. Cepeda, I would slightly favor over Tio, but Ramirez would get iced. I think Jose Ramirez would get destroyed. And the reason I think Jose Ramirez would get destroyed is because Jose Ramirez is a left hook dominant fighter. And you can't trade hooks with the hooker. You know, and I feel like in that fight, he would throw a hook, he would miss, and Tia would counter him with a hook himself, and he would get hurt. That's what I genuinely believe. You know? BT, for me, I feel that Ortiz, McGee, and Lopez get all the heat because of the fact that Oscar's being too protective of them, but they want every fight, probably. Well, freaking... Munguia gets criticism because Munguia won his first world title in 2018, and it wasn't even against a fighter that was a legitimate 154 pounder. He won it against Saddam Ali, who won the belt against another guy who wasn't really a 154 pounder, in Miguel Cotto. Then, you know, he got a gift decision against Dennis Hogan. Then he looked like trash against Takashi Inoue. So Jaime Munguia has looked very beautiful for a long time, and then when it came time to fight the top guys at 160. It just didn't happen. And then when I interviewed them and I pressed them about why they didn't fight Andrade or certain guys, they said, oh, well, they didn't make us an offer, but they were the number one contender. They never showed any urgency to try to make the fight happen. So it's just like, it's a sad state of affairs, you know? But it is what it is. Let me see. We got any more questions? There's 35 here. Are there any more questions? Because I think I've covered pretty much everything I wanted to cover. I think one last thing I will talk about, and then I'll dip out of here, is I wanted to give my little 2 cents on the fight between, what's his name, Joseph Parker and Joe Joyce, because I think this is a great fight for the heavyweight division. I think this is a fight that people should really be excited about if you're a fan of heavyweight boxing. You know, Joe Joyce is a guy that so far in his career he's passed every test with flying colors. Sometimes he don't look good doing it. They're now going to fight September 24th. Joseph Parker has been a top 10 heavyweight for like the better part of half a decade, but he hasn't been able to really win the big one. He lost against Dillian White when he was favored. He lost against Anthony Joshua when he was champion. A lot of people thought he lost to Ruiz, even though he got the decision in New Zealand. So he's been working with Andy Lee recently. A lot of people think that Andy Lee's going to change his style and things like that. I feel like this is going to be what all the work they put together in the gym should come together. Joe Parker is like 6'3", so he has more of the old school heavyweight build. He's like 6'3", 230 pounds, kind of like a Evander Holyfield type of frame. Joe Joyce is what they say he is. Joe Joyce is a juggernaut. He's a 6'6", 270 pound plus tank. And the guy has a crazy punch output. I've seen him in the gym. I've seen the coaches at the Salas Boxing Academy literally with the clicker every time he throws a punch. And the guy's throwing 110 punches around, 114 punches around, 105 punches around, 99 punches around. So he's really, really dangerous for anybody in the heavyweight division. Great stamina. I just, I think I'm favoring Joyce because I don't know if Parker has the mean streak to deal with a fight like this. His biggest problem in every fight really is that he doesn't throw enough punches. And the thing with Joyce is that his main strength is that he throws a lot of punches. So something's got to give. Parker has to do something in this fight. He cannot catch Adrian Broner syndrome and not throw anything back at Joe Joyce. Because if he doesn't, I'm telling you right now, he will get grinded down and stopped in the later rounds. And Joe Joyce will make a really, really big statement in the heavyweight division. Joe Joyce will be 37 by the time he fights Parker. It's crazy. Yeah, he's no spring chicken. He needs to get a move on with his career now. He needs to fight the AJs and the Furies and all these guys now. Usyk, all these guys now. So yeah. Dallas, Texas, home of the welterweight champion of the world, Errol Spence, and burgers. Peace, my Whataburger. Shout out to Whataburger. Shout out and an extra shout out, a supreme shout out to the sweet and spicy bacon burger, the best burger at Whataburger, in my opinion. How soon will it be before Jared Anderson gets to take out the top competition? He's got everything he needs to be a star: power, technique, and charisma. They're gonna take the time with him. He's not ready yet. I'm not sure if he's ranked. Let's see if he's ranked. So he's not. So Jared Anderson isn't ranked in the WBC. He's not ranked in the WBA. He's not ranked in the IBF, and he's not ranked in the WBO. So he still hasn't even got ranked top 15. So you're looking at like 4 to 6 to 7 fights down the road. Oh man, here comes Ghost. He says, BT, I'm telling you, they will keep Jared Anderson away from Stephen Shaw at all costs. I still have to watch that fight. Hold on. I want to watch Stephen. Who did Stephen Shaw? Because you always bring up Stephen Shaw. Who did Stephen Shaw fight his last fight? Because I want to make a note of it to watch it. Because you keep talking about Stephen Shaw. I want to watch the fight so I can see what you're seeing. Because I didn't watch the fight, so you're talking about something I don't really know about. But it'd be a good fight if it ever happens. Stephen Shaw can box. He can move. He's slick. He's definitely a worthy opponent. BT, at the same point in the professional careers, who do you think is more of a devastating body puncher? Triple G or Vergil Ortiz? In your honest opinion, I feel like Vergil Ortiz is the more devastating body puncher. I would agree with you. Triple G was a devastating fighter all the way around the board, but we're talking about strictly body punching. Vergil Ortiz, I think, is more devastating right now. That's my opinion. Bernardo Marquez. Okay, Bernardo Marquez. I'll check it out. I got it. I put it in my notes. I'm gonna watch it probably tonight after I get back home from my run and edit my videos. I'll watch it when I have some time. It only lasted around shit. I could watch that right now. Hold on. Let me watch that shit right now. I'm gonna watch Stephen Shaw versus Bernardo Marquez. I'm not gonna put it on the screen because I might get copyrighted, but I want to watch Stephen Shaw versus Bernardo Marquez because every time Ghost gets in the comment section, he keeps talking about Stephen Shaw this and Stephen Shaw that, and Stephen Shaw would do this to Hrgovic and all this stuff. So I want to see, because I seen Stephen Shaw fight Joey Dwayko, and I saw a solid guy, but I didn't see anything crazy. So, oh shit, he dropped him 3 times. Okay, I can see why you're going crazy. So I'm watching it right now. I'm watching Stephen Shaw right now on the ESPN channel. Okay, good little jab there by Stephen Shaw. Okay, good little right hand going backwards. No, nice. Okay. Yeah, he looks a lot better here than he did when he fought Dwayko. Yeah, good thing about Stephen Shaw. From what I'm seeing here, Ghost, he threw a jab, stepped back, left hook, straight right, left hook, overhand right, left hook, right hand, left hook. Man, he's putting them together nicely. It's good stuff there for Stephen Shaw. Shit, I want. You know what? I want. Now that I'm seeing him, I want to see Stephen Shaw against Jared Anderson. I want to see Stephen Shaw versus Hrgovic. Let me see. Midway point of the first round. Stephen Shaw slips the punch, ties him up. Let me see. Frame. Got caught with a shot there, and then he fired a right hand. And then, yeah, I mean, look, he's doing what he needs to do. He's putting his punches together very nicely. But this guy Marquez doesn't have much punch resistance. I mean, Stephen Shaw really hit him when he fell down in the second round. But it's a good showing though for him. Very, very, very good showing. But this guy's punch resistance isn't the best. But good right hand, left hook. And oh, that's what it was. Overhand right. I didn't see that overhand right. Yeah, Stephen Shaw picking these punches real nice. Let me see. Latter part. Left hook, right hand, left hook, right hand, left hook. Right hand going backwards. Overhand right going backwards. Left hook. Okay. Stephen Shaw, body shot straight right. Okay, all right. I see you coming from, Ghost. Stephen Shaw. Okay. That's my big brother figure. Of course, I'm about to back in BT. I know what he would do to the big names. He is a dark horse. I promise you, he is that guy. He's very good. I'm not going to lie. That was much better than I saw when he fought Dwayko. Because really, the only thing I had to go off of was a Dwayko fight. That's why you can't always judge fighters off of one fight. But Stephen Shaw, man, he was punching... he was punching backwards. He was good stuff. Play nice little body shot. I think his problem will be if he fights a taller guy, is just getting past the jab. Because the guy he fought, in that particular fight, didn't really have any resistance with his skills or his chin. So, it was pretty much target practice. I want to see Stephen Shaw against a guy who's not target practice, because Joey Deweyko was target practice. That guy was target practice. And then listen, I'm not knocking them. These are good prospect building fights, but fighting Jared Anderson, Hergovic, these kind of guys, it's a bit different. Whataburger mentioned, I'm from the city where Whataburger is founded. Corpus Christi, Texas. Shout out to all the fine folks at Corpus Christi, Texas. I never knew that. Now that I know that, Corpus Christi, Texas has gone up in my estimation. Shout out to Corpus Christi. They created a great burger joint. Love that place. And with y'all mentioning it so much, I might need to go to Texas soon. I might need to go to Texas in the next, 2 months or so. Not now, but, stack a little bread and head on over to Texas. Get some Whataburger. But I appreciate everyone here. It's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire, live in the afternoon, going into the evening, because it's 5 o'clock here on the East Coast, 5:11 here on the East Coast. Shout out to you wherever you're at. God bless you guys. Hope you guys are off to a great start in your week and your work week. BT, the next fight, he'll be 5 times better. He's just getting back. He will get better every fight. One more, and he'll be 100%. They wanted to make the FA fight, but FA said no. I can see why. If he fights like that against Efe Ajagba, he'll beat the shit out of Efe Ajagba. Now, I'll pick Stephen Shaw in that fight. Good speed, good punch placement, picks his shots very nicely. I would like to see Stephen Shaw in these fights. You know what? Hold on. I'm going to make a note. Make a note to make a video about Stephen Shaw. We got to start showing some love to Stephen Shaw, because you keep mentioning him. And he listen, he's a top 30 guy, top 30, top 40 heavyweight. He's on his way up, so we want to show love to all the fighters, not just the guys that we're fans of or make videos about the guys we don't like. We gotta support the sport of boxing. Stephen Shaw, though. Shout out to everybody here. Any other questions? Because I'm about to get off soon, because I gotta hop on the scooter and go for my run. What about Big Baby Miller? How far do you think he can go? Well, he just had another fight. Personally, look, I think Jarrell Miller, his best days have passed him by. That's the truth. I think the best he can do is be a payday as an opponent for a younger fighter, which is crazy to say, because he hasn't lost a fight yet. He's undefeated. But I can see like a Hergovic or Jared Anderson, or maybe even a Stephen Shaw fighting him and getting that name on the resume. Now, Jarrell Miller just fought literally like a week and a half ago against a fighter by the name of Derek Cardenas in at the Embassy Suites in Tennessee. So he was over there fighting in Tennessee, and then before that he fought Ariel Esteban Bracamonte, who recently got stopped by Frazier Clark on the most recent match, one of the most recent cards. He actually fought Frazier Clark on the Isaac Chamberlain, Chris Billings Smith undercard. Frazier Clark stopped Bracamonte in 2 rounds. Miller went the full 10 rounds with him. So that kind of shows you the level he's at right now. You don't think, you can't really expect him to be at world level. He's going to get an opportunity at some point, whether it be with Carlos Takam, Arslanbek Makhmudov, Hergovic, Stephen Shaw. Someone's going to fight Jarrell Miller. Mark my words. He'll be an opponent. He'll get paid well. He'll probably lose, and that'll be it for him. That's my opinion. BT, if undisputed unification doesn't happen at 126 at any point in the next 3 years, do you think Lara and Navarrete both move up to 130 pounds? If they do, they're not going to move up there while Shakur Stevenson's still there. And I don't even think they'll move up there if Joe Cordina is still there, because those will both be dangerous fights for them. All right, I'll check it out. I think I seen the DM in my message request. I haven't like responded to my message request in like weeks, so I gotta do that soon. BT, make a video about Ariel Lopez. He's a pro. He's the guy who will beat Ben Whitaker one hand in the Olympics with relative ease. I sent you his first fight. Okay, I'll check him out. I know it's my DMs because I've seen it. I just haven't watched it or responded. But yes, sir. Boxing champ. What's good, champ? Good to see you. Hope all is well. Was talking a little bit earlier about just the disrespect I'm seeing from people about Vergil Ortiz. Now I know you're a guy that knows his boxing. I think, boxing gems, that Vergil Ortiz is ready for any world title, whether it's Spence or Crawford. I think he. I'm not saying he will beat those guys, but I think he deserves to be in the ring with them. Personally, I think he could beat Spence. I think that's a winnable fight because Spence has a volume jab, but Virgil has a great jab, and I believe Virgil has the kind of jab that can neutralize the Spence jab and outwork him. That's what I think. But yeah, a lot of people in boxing seem to be writing him off, saying that he's a bum, that he's not that good. Virgil is ready if he says he is. And you know what? I like that attitude, Boxing Gems. We need to get to that place in boxing because everybody always says, oh, he's not ready. You don't know if a guy's ready until the guy gets in the ring. If the fighter says he's ready and he's knocked out guys like Maurice Hooker in one round, guy like Michael McKinson and, who's a top contender, Kambosos, a guy who fought Crawford, then the guy is ready. Get a guy a shot. Don't write him off. Don't be so quick to write him off. Not a bum. Okay, nobody's really called him a bum, but they've been saying, like, I've heard people say he's a B- fighter and he doesn't deserve to be in the ring with Crawford and Spence and that these guys to beat him up and retire him and just crazy stuff. Like they're making me seem like I'm crazy for giving him a chance against Spence or Ennis or Crawford. Now, don't get me wrong. I think he still has things he's got to work on, but he's far from this B- level fighter that people want to keep painting him out to be. Just because he's not flashy, just because he doesn't have the switch hitting abilities of Crawford or Ennis. Daniel Diaz says, hey, what's up? I'm new here. Seen how you guys rock. Well, shout out to you, champ. Welcome to the home of boxing, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. I'm kind of winding down towards the end of the live, but good to see you. Hope all is well. People with no eye test say B-. These dudes don't know shit. They don't know shit. They don't. I like Michael McKinson. Like I'm a Michael McKinson fan because he won me over from the Chris Congo fight. Michael McKinson would make almost any welterweight look bad. It's just the way he fights. It's hard to look good against Michael McKinson. But people are using, little tidbits of certain rounds to try to discredit Virgil. And I don't like that. I'm not surprised because I predicted that this would happen. I predicted that Michael McKinson would fight well enough to make Virgil look a certain way enough to where people would say, okay, Virgil is overrated, Virgil beat the guy who dropped Bud. Anyone thinking he has no chance in a fight against anyone is crazy. He has a chin. He has good fundamentals, which I talk a lot about. His fundamentals are, and when I say fundamentals, I mean like his jab, his his balance are A1. They're creme de la creme. How could you say he has no chance? How could you be so foolish and spew such garbage out the side of your mouth, out the side of your lips? It's getting ridiculous. People gotta start being more responsible when they talk about the sport of boxing. BT, I feel that people that hate Ortiz are directing their hatred for Oscar into Virgil, in my honest opinion. You might be onto something because it can't be because Virgil is not, he hasn't really done anything crazy to make people hate him, in my opinion. So I don't see it. Boxing on Edge, what's good, Chen? Good to see you. BT, how do you see Conor Benn versus Virgil Ortiz today? Conor called him out this week. He said he beats Boots and Virgil. I think Virgil Ortiz would absolutely decapitate Conor Benn. Conor Benn is an improving fighter. He's come a long way since the fight he had with Cedric Pinoid. But Conor Benn is a fighter that relies heavily on relentlessness and explosiveness. But we've seen in the past if you can fight a certain way against him, if you're a mover, you'll give him problems. He can always land a big shot against Virgil and hurt him. But I just think Virgil's jab is going to set the pace for that fight. Conor Benn's going to have a hard time setting his feet to explode and get any punches off. And Virgil is going to lull him to sleep. He's going to hurt him with a left hook or uppercut, and he'll probably stop him inside of 8 rounds. That's what I genuinely believe. Now, the real question we got to ask, and here's why I might lose some of you guys. I personally think if Conor Benn were to fight Michael McKinson within the next 2 fights, I think Michael McKinson would beat him. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm not just saying this to sound crazy or have a different opinion. I think Michael McKinson would have a great shot to beat Conor Benn because, first of all, Conor Benn doesn't have the IQ of a Vergil Ortiz, nor does he have the fundamentals of a Vergil Ortiz. And mind you, even with all those fundamentals that even with all the fundamentals Virgil has, Virgil was still missing a lot when he fought Michael McKinson. Michael McKinson still made him swing at air and all those kind of things, and was pivoting around him at times. So McKinson's awkward. He's physically strong. He can frustrate you. We saw, if you guys remember, when Conor Benn fought Adrian Granados, good friend of the channel, one of my buddies. Granados, first of all, really isn't a real 147-pounder. Second of all, Adrian Granados is on the back end of his career. Third of all, Adrian Granados is not a guy that has the reputation for being a mover. In that fight, he was a mover. And Conor Benn had a very hard time cutting the ring off and finding Adrian Granados. So I know you can't use triangle theories, but let's just use some common sense. Michael McKinson's a southpaw. Michael McKinson's strength is that he moves and that he's awkward. So I believe he's going to slow the tempo down enough to where Conor Benn's punch output is going to lower. The fight will be in his favor. And if Conor Benn don't land something big in the early rounds and this fight gets to the 6th, 7th, 8th round, I could genuinely see Michael McKinson outboxing Conor Benn, even though he has no power at all. That's my opinion. What do you guys think? Conor Benn makes way too many mistakes, even on the basics. He keeps his head on the center line, crosses his feet often, and so much more. Even kind of starts to slow down. I think he loses. Yeah, so I'm not alone. That's good to know. I'm not crazy. Like McKinson just can't punch. I'll tell you, if Michael McKinson had legitimate punching power, he would be he would be even higher ranked than he is, to be honest, because he's got everything else. He's got the footwork, he understands positioning, and he's physically strong. The only thing he's missing is punching power to keep guys off of him. So that's really the only problem he's gonna have at the elite level. But as far as these guys in the lower top 10, top 15 guys, he give all these guys a good fight, potentially beat them. BT, and I also feel like another thing is they're comparing his footwork, talking about Ortiz, to guys like Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson, when those guys are natural boxers. Yeah, those guys are different styles, and I feel like boxing is getting to a point where people, if a guy isn't slick, if a guy doesn't move like Devin Haney or Muhammad Ali or freaking certain guys, then people can't appreciate the other styles. And in boxing, you gotta fight the fight that works for you, and Virgil has a very effective style that more than works for him. That's why he's 19 for 19 with 100% knockout ratio. Hyro, what's good? Chebby says, man, I love the 147 division, but I always forget the names of the champions that fight once a year. Yeah, those guys. The guys that haven't signed the contract yet. Now, Ellis, on the other hand, I got Ellis decapitating Conor Benn and McKinson in the same night. Ooh. I could see that. Ellis is definitely the stronger of... Ellis is definitely stronger than McKinson. He punches harder than McKinson, but then everybody punches harder than McKinson at welterweight. Ben... See, I like Rashidi Ellis. He's a friend of the channel. I like him, but I could see the Ben fight being difficult for him because Rashidi Ellis is fast, but if you watch his fights, sometimes a lot of the times when he gets to the 6th round, 7th round, sometimes he'll fade down the stretch and he can lose his fundamentals as fight goes on. So if you don't get an early stoppage against McKinson, that fight could be hard for him. And I think Conor Benn has the same problem as him. So I could see that. I could see that fight going either way. I would like to see Rashidi Ellis just get a crack at somebody. He's one of the top welterweights out there. Rocha would have beat Ben, I reckon. That's a good fight. I don't know about that one. I don't know what to make of Alexis Rocha because I don't think he's as he beat Blair Cobbs and blew him out, but I really don't think he's as good as he was that night, in my opinion. I don't think even though it was what it was, I thought the fight was a little bit more about Blair Cobbs having an off night because Blair just fought the wrong style, the wrong game plan. Because when I've seen other Rocha fights, Rocha doesn't necessarily blow me away. He's effective, he's solid, he's strong. I would like to see that fight because that would give me more insight to just how good Alexis Rocha is, to be honest. But he's a solid guy. The issue at welterweight is the former champs didn't test the young guys. that's what it is. Keep them as not anxious to fight Ben or Rashidi Ellis or Jaron Ennis, and there it goes. BT, it's weird because these are the same fans who will still say a bunch of BS about Rigo, who is one of the best pure boxers of all time. Yeah, that's why I can't blame fighters for just doing whatever the fuck they want to do and not trying to please boxing fans, because you can't please boxing fans. When you're a intelligent pressure fighter like Vergil Ortiz who knocks everybody out, they say you have no footwork and you lose to anybody with footwork. Then when you have footwork, they say you're boring like Rigondeaux and you don't sell and boxing needs to get rid of you. So there really is there's no winning. There's no pleasing people. The trainers always try to make the fighter fight a certain way. They got to let them be, because at the end of the day, those fighters are not what they are. They know what. I'm all a bit confused, but I understand what you're saying, Harold. I told him the same thing. Ellis needs to get that tank in order. He is doing something about it, which I like to see. If he fixes the slowing down aspect of his game, I will confidently pick him 10 out of 10. Yeah, no, absolutely. If he fixes that, then I'm picking him against a lot of these welterweights, and that's the truth. BT, how about this next fight with Virgil? Ugas, and how do you see that fight playing out for Ortiz? How do you see him? Do you see him knocking out Ugas, or does that go to decision? No, that ends by stoppage. He stops Ugas. Ugas will try to slow the fight down and counterpunch him. Then it won't work, and then Virgil will break him down and get him out there before the 10th round. That's what's gonna happen, Anti-sports talk. Let's get to that. Let's get rid of Tim Duncan because he wasn't flashy. Yeah, and it's crazy too because Tim. I mean, I don't know what your opinions are on this. I rate Tim Duncan pretty highly. Like, I got Tim Duncan up there. Like, I know people love Kobe. I'm one of them guys. I got Tim Duncan above Kobe, but you can't say that because Kobe's like a demigod of people. But Tim Duncan never missed the playoffs. 50 wins every year. 5-1 in the finals. 15-time All-NBA. Oldest man to make a All-NBA team. Most defensive team selections. Top 5 MVP in his rookie season. NBA champion second season in the league. Finals MVP second season in the league. I mean, Tim Duncan, damn near perfect. Straight up, damn near perfect career. And people want to sit here and discredit him. So I agree with you. BT, I realize that I'm still trying to find my way in the world, but there are other that can't even devise what gender they are. That's true. There's a lot of me. You may have problems, but there's some people that think that they don't know. They don't want to acknowledge what their actual genders are. So there's a lot of confusion going on in the world right now, Errol. All right. Well, on that note, guys, look, I have to get up on out of here because I have to go get my run in and I have to drive kind of far to go get it done. So you guys take care. I'll be live again tomorrow. We'll talk some more about the latest and greatest going on in boxing. Live fight reaction this Saturday. Teofimo Lopez, Pedro Campa. Make sure you guys join. And then, I'll say, take care. Keep supporting the channel. And, we're on the road to 50,000 subscribers. So I can't wait to finally get there. And with that being said, keep supporting the sport of boxing. Don't get caught up in the politics. Don't start talking like a promoter. Support the sport. I'm with Boxing Gem. Stop this anti-sport talk. And just be a fan and enjoy the sport for what it is, a sport. On that note, you guys take care. God bless. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me. But I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.